done a lot of sky watching in his time, and he's going to talk to you about some of the unusual things that have happened to him during sky watching and his personal encounter. So please welcome Barry Taylor.
Thank you. Good day, everybody. I have to see what I can get through with all this. Down there you can get, look there, that's extra slides. Right there, I thought that was the lady who was showing me. This is the lady. That's it, top one. Just before, if you want to, that's my free download book there, so if you want to jot down that address on issw.com, UFO down and get a free copy, because a lot of this stuff, plus a heck of a lot more in it. I was doing a presentation in Lismore in 1997 when I first met Cheryl and Martin Gottschall, talking about the UFOs. I've been fortunate enough to see heaps of UFOs during my lifetime, but in the 90s it was intense. So this is what I'm talking to you about tonight. There's some of the weird things that I come across and happened to me during that period of time. It's some of it's pretty crazy. I first witnessed 10-year-old. It was my first lot of UFOs I saw, high altitude, and it spurred on a little bit of an interest in space and the sky, night sky, at that early age. Sorry about that. 1970 was the year when I saw this yellow egg-shaped, football-shaped UFO right in front of me at eye level. And that was, I just stood there with, wow, someone in that looking at me. And that's when I really spurred my interest in Sydney, and that's when I got into the UFORQ group down there when it was on. Eventually got right into it and had my home phone number in the Sydney phone book, so people reporting UFOs rang me, and I was able to learn a lot during that period of time. In 95, 98 I moved to Katoomba, and I still saw UFOs up there. I got a couple of photographs here that were taken from Katoomba, and one night when CB radio first came in, I was one of the pirates of CB radio, and went up to a lookout, and I was able to see a UFO coming in from the west over in a foggy sort of night sky, and it was heading towards Katoomba. And I said to the guys on the radio, excuse me fellas, I've got to get out here and look at this UFO. Oh yeah. Get now heading, and I'll be back soon. Stay there and I'll tell you all about it. So I had a torch and I got out of the car, and when it came close to the town of Katoomba, below the fog, it was the only light visible in the sky. It had a secondary object circling around it like this. And I thought, no, that's definitely a UFO, not a craft. So I flashed the torch at it, bang, 3 times, and it took off to the north instantly. It just accelerated so fast, blink of an eye, it was gone. So I got back on the CB radio, and they weren't there, so they weren't standing by listening. So I don't know whether I lost time there or not, but I sort of don't think of those things. Go there. And so 97 in Grafton, I did I sort of had a lot of things to do. Didn't get involved in UFOs for some period of time. But in 97 in Grafton, laying down in bed one night, I saw UFOs go through, and I'll tell you that part of it. I'll mix these slides up because I don't know how much time I've got, and I want to tell you these stories first. And during that time I saw a V formation, or a boomerang formation, of 7 golden yellow disc objects 40 foot above me, 35 to 40 foot above me. And I had a video camera in my hand, and when I saw it, I started counting 1, 2, I could get abducted, like 1, 2, 3, 4. If I missed, if I started then saying 48, 49, 50, well, where's the time going, So then I had the video camera in my hand, I just had this message in my mind: don't video, just have a look at them and take in all the information you can. And that's what I did, and I can describe it was almost as if you could see inside the objects. They were like, it was like a glass, if they were made of glass and it was illuminated from the inside. It was like a plasma ship, some people call it a plasma ship. And in the front of it, they had a real dark area, which I thought, no, that's probably the brains of the thing. And they're all the same, surrounded by a white ionized haze, and going at very low altitude. And I wasn't sure whether I was looking at 7 lights illuminating a solid craft or they were individual objects. But when they went away, I could see the top of the object, of the formation. It started to tilt and move away, and I could see the same thing, so it indicated 7 individual 3-metre golden yellow UFO discs at low altitude. Other people reported them as well. But the next morning, when I just shaved in the bathroom, I was like I was sunburnt, and the forehead, the top part of my face up here, was all sunburnt. When you frown, you could feel like it's sunburnt. And that was apparently from the group of objects that I witnessed the night before. So it was a radiation type burn, obviously, because there was a heck of a lot of energy coming from those objects because of the ionisation around them. Sleep paralysis, I've had it once in my life ever, and it happened to be in a time of intense UFO activity. Woke up and I could only move my eyes, and I could see like fireflies, like little luminous lights down around my feet. It was moving up towards my upper torso, and I thought, I got to move, I'm wide awake and I couldn't move, and I got to the stage I said, I'm going to break bones, but I'm going to have to move, and I eventually broke out of it. But sleep paralysis is another thing that can happen during UFO activity, and I've been asked whether I saw any aliens, but I didn't see any aliens. But sleep paralysis, I don't know whatever happened there, but another time I had a tap on my head like that, on my temple, and woke me up. Lost time is another effect. I videoed what turned out to be a hoax device in Grafton one evening, and I could identify it as a hoax device because when it went between clouds I could see the balloon thing above it, and it was had a fire, probably a wax firelighter or something underneath it, which was unusual because the hoax garbage bags device fire is not separate to the balloon that lifts it. Anyway, my memory is I had the camera still rolling from that, and I looked around and here's this balloon. When I play the video back, the video is stopped. I had the video rolling. I did an experiment. Turned the camera off. I ran it through and said, no way in the world. There's a bit of lost time in that particular incident. Strange dreams. Another thing that happens. See, when the UFO activity, I'll put you in the picture a bit more. I was out every night, every time, and I was working shift work. And when I was working, I had days off, some nights off. So when I had days off, I'd be outside watching videotaping UFOs. It was just so intense. It was unbelievable. So at night I was having strange dreams, and wake up sometimes with scratches and bruises. One night I woke up with about 2 red bands around my ankles, as if I'd been shackled. Well, weren't there the night before. That happened during the night somehow. And you have a knowing when there's UFOs around. I got to the stage where I still do it sometimes. All of a sudden it come to your mind, the UFO. You walk out the front door, one will fly over. Usually the dull yellow objects, not very large. Sometimes, one time in Grafton, I walked out, I had the same feeling, the UFOs, go out and have a look. Went over in a triangle, dull yellow UFO, went over just above rooftop. And I think, are those things sitting up there waiting for me to come out? or are they telling me to get out there so I can have a look at them? One or the other, I don't know. It just happens so often. Scoop marks, I had a scoop mark in my left shin when I was 10-year-old, and I had 3, not knowing anything about UFOs at that period of time, at that age, and I had this memory of 3 nights in a row I was taken into a dark craft by strange creatures, and that's when I had a scoop mark. Scratches and bruises, as I explained before, unusual. And then buzzed by UFOs, this is interesting. With a laser, I had one of these little red lasers, and I was seeing small UFOs in the night sky. You could see the black object moving in the night sky. So I'd get the laser and I'd go like in the flight path, and then it'd go that way. So I'd go like that in the flight path, and apparently they'd realised then that I was aware of their flight. So they'd come around and check me out. And they'd come over the house next door, you know, so I'd set cameras up here, cameras there, and I'm going to get them, you know, and then they'd go over the clothesline, just over the lawn, over the backyard. So I'll send the camera over there, another one over there, and then one would go across the road, across there, just below the power pole, you know, like at low altitude. And I just couldn't photograph them, so I even got a motorbike helmet, put on a night vision security camera recording just inside the house. Now, with a Nikon professional camera with external flash already on, all I had to do is press a button. So I said, I'm going to get these things. I'm going to have to show people these things that are buzzing me, you know. So this particular night, I'm ready. Okay, you can come now. And this big black shadow just above rooftop height come over, and holy mackerel, look at that, you know. The size of a small car, I suppose, you know. But it was so obvious. And I got cameras ready to go. Didn't show up on the... I could have just gone flash and may have got something. But so hard to... They play games with you. And, yeah, strange. And heightened awareness. So I was able to know when an aircraft was coming from behind me before I could hear it or see it, you know, like being outside, your awareness expands, and you can, it's you know, it's that many hours that I did to do it, and heightened awareness, you're so alert, and your peripheral vision and your night vision is so emphasised and developed because of skywatching, the intensity that I used to do it. And I drove around the main intersection in Grafton there, and it's got a light over the centre, and I've lost count how many times I went around that corner and that light went out. And it's just at the same spot each time. I just about go around the corner, boom, the light would go out. That's happened again. And it happened up here in Brisbane too when Susie Hanson was talking, and I drove back to Cheryl's place, and we drove around off the freeway, off the corner, and 2 of them went out to the street lights, and we just looked at one and I said, oh yeah, that happens. Even a LED traffic light on the freeway where it says 100k in LED lights, I was coming to it, I looked up at it and half the LEDs went out. It's still happening. And photographic anomalies, got heaps of orbs, but also in film camera I'll get the red streaks and throughout the negative, that it's not exposed from light, not a light leak or anything like that, but you get these photographic anomalies. And then items disappear. I'll show you, if I've got time, I'll get to this piece and I'll explain the disappearance of various items. Strange things. Got bailed up at the post office one day with this guy in a suit with his offsider, and you know, excuse me, I want to check my mail. He bailed me right up, you know, like entrapped me more or less, and opened up this little wooden box with little multiple coloured patterns in it. And he said, which colour do you like? Which pattern do you like? I said, what's all this about? What's it, selling a product or something? He said, don't matter about that, just which colour do you like? I thought, okay. So I thought, this is suspicious. Not many people in suits in Grafton at that time, so I got my little finger up like that and I said, that one, didn't touch it. I said, that one there. He said, okay, thanks. So I wandered around to check my mail. As I was halfway up to the mailbox, looked around and they weren't there. Got my mail, came back out, they'd gone. If I'd have gone like that, it could be poison, you know what I mean? So you've got to be, when you get phone taps, you get all this other stuff happening, you've got to be 100% aware and alert. And it's real, it's no joke. Yeah. Umbrella behaving badly. Had a young bloke said, I've had abduction experiences, I want to talk to you. Okay. We'll meet up at Woolworths and have a coffee, sit down at the table had umbrellas up, and the umbrella slid down if he started to talk. I said, oh yeah, well, got up and pushed it back up and tightened it up. Started to talk and slid back down again. Oh, it's a bit strange, isn't it? So I got up and really rang it, so it's not going to come down this time. Started to talk again, slid down again. Okay, we're going to have to move over the tables over here. So I just pushed it up, just loosely, just quickly done it up, and it never slid down the rest of the time we were there. Anyway, we sat down at this other table, and this guy walked in. This is in, cool weather, in winter. We both had jackets on. Anyway, this dude walks in, and he's a big set build, and the only way I can describe him, he's pure blood Aryan. He has a Aryan, like someone will explain it to you. And he had the clothes he had on was like summer clothes, like a very small, tight T-shirt, like somebody else's clothes, 2-3 sizes smaller than that he borrowed the clothes from. And shorts, like same thing, 2-3 sizes too small. Anyway, he sat down. I looked at him. I thought, he's a strange-looking dude, And he sat down, like in the table behind my mate there that I was talking to, in front of me. He puts down a little black box, the famous little black box, on the table in front of him, and he just stares at it. We were there for an hour, and he never took his eyes off the black box. Never got up and got a coffee or anything like that. And when we finished, we walked away, and we got to the steps, which was only probably here to the wall away from where the table was, or even less than that. I turned around, and he wasn't at the table, this other guy. I thought, well, he disappeared quick. He wasn't in the doors. He didn't go in through the main entrance doors that I could see, but he just disappeared out of sight very quickly after we moved. Anyway, to continue that story, a mate from the Central Coast was visiting around that same night, and he said, you want to come to the club and meet up and have a drink? And yeah, see you there. So I told him about this guy, strange guy, and I explained the details to him. The next morning, he rang me and said, that bloke you just explained? He said, he come in after you left, and he sat at the table opposite me, ordered a schooner of beer in front of him, never drank any of it. And he was there for I was there for half an hour, and he never drank out of it, and he's still there, dressed the same. And so I got a bit freaked out and I left. And so that was just a connection with this particular strange dude because my mate was also really interested in UFOs and had some strange experiences, and I'm running out of time.
No, I just wanted to add something. I think you've left out a very important part of your story.
Yes, yeah.
People don't know that it's during that time, that whole decade, Barry was the only person in Australia who was collecting UFO footage and sharing it with a handful of other people around the world. The only source or avenue that any Australian footage was getting out to the rest of the world. So you had a lot of unusual things going on around you while you were doing that, and you were doing it prolifically. Yeah, well,
if I want to tell my story, we'll be here for another couple of days. But I'm just trying to... it is, yeah. That's now, a woman from WA, just to get on to the next one, rang me and said she had an alien experience, like an abduction type experience, and she was cured of a serious illness. I think it was liver problem she had, and she was fairly seriously ill. So she made it over to the East Coast, and we met up and had coffee. And she was telling me that during her experience, after her experience, she went to the doctor and she was cured, 100% cured from this after this experience with abduction type experience. And while she was there, we were out there on the footpath, where they take out someone's car park and put tables there and you can sit and have coffee. And we were there, and I noticed there was a guy in a suit again, standing in a doorway of one of the shops carrying a suitcase, and he was just eyeballing me. And I look around, he's just eyeballing me, and he did this for a little bit, and it was just becoming a bit irritant. So I looked at him, and he went, nodded, yeah, I know you're there. And and then he just walked off. But it seems it's 200 metres from where I was located. All I had was binoculars. I'd just taken my camera inside, so I saw them through binoculars, filled the view of the binoculars, so I got a really, really good look at them. Red light array craft, I call them. There's a drawing in the book. And I was out on the veranda, and where I saw these ready for another lot of activity, and you could feel, I felt my chest sort of heating up from the inside. I thought, gee, that's getting uncomfortable. I'm getting microwaved here. And so I went inside, and it went away. So I did a bit of research, and apparently there is such a thing as a microwave weapon, a line of sight weapon. The CIA with the mystery phone calls, hoax device going over, phone rings. Oh, yeah, any UFOs around here? No, only hoax devices. Oh, you know about them, do you? Oh, yeah. Oh, hang on a minute, I've got another phone call on the other line. Yeah, and use the phone. Sounded like Air Force Base or somebody on night duty or something like that. I met a Mason, handshake. I didn't know until the handshake. And we talked about UFOs, interesting people to meet. And I had a gunshot guy pass gunshot. That's a threat of ever. Helicopter surveillance videos, many videos of helicopters. So see, I can play a bit of. That was in 1971 when I looked at it. It was something like that, football shape, just a dull yellow. It looked like that. And only just like close and front. This object here was just a strange light in the sky at Katoomba, and when it was enlarged up, it was like that. UFOs, not at real height, but high enough that it wasn't like light post. Now, there's this dream associated with this. I had a dream about this going into a bookshop, and there was some important book there I had to buy. 2 years later, I went into Lismore, and the news agent walked up this large bookshelf, right around, never looked at a book, come halfway down the other side, and I stopped, looked down, Australian Paranormal, well, I haven't seen that one before, picked it up, flicked through it, and there's my photo of my UFO. And the dream that I had 2 years earlier come back, and that was it. I'd given a copy of the photo to Rex Gilroy, and he used it in the story, and he used all the details exactly how it's told him. He's very good. He doesn't exaggerate. This is Lubbock, Texas. This is in a Dempsey book, and in '97 in Grafton, that was the first formation of UFOs I saw, and it was exactly the same as that. And the features are the staggered position of the UFOs in the group, and you very, very rarely see those. They're very rare. I saw them only once in a lifetime for all the sightings I've had. Boomerang formations and V formations. If you ever see that, you know you're in the middle of a UFO flat. A lot of stuff happens. But this were the main ones seen, and in 1999 they were around. The whole Earth wave of UFOs, the decade of the 90s worldwide. I did a 35mm film, you know, the UFOs just over Grafton and all that sort of stuff. So that was before video. That had that thing there, a reptilian V creature at the bottom of my swimming pool, like 20 foot away. And then I looked at it, looking for its eyes, and it went into a wobble. Once it probably realised I could see it, and it disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. I think it just switched off. And these things were flying around. Not all those lights. Can you see that one there? No, you probably can't. That's how dull they were. These, not boomerangs, but almost flat like that. Very flat boomerang, flying around. Got buzzed by them lots of times. come over the rooftop of the house and got adrenaline rushes. That's what it looked like. I didn't have eyes, I just put them in there for effect. And these are interceptors, they're the little ones. One flew just over the rooftop, right about 12 foot away from me. I saw it coming in the my mouse died, peripheral vision, and it was going that fast I couldn't lay my eyes on it, but saw it disappear, and I could hear that as it went past. I estimated over 300 kilometres an hour, just 12 foot away. And these are the things that were buzzing me. I wanted to photograph. I call them interceptors because one would go down and they'd flash on and leave a streak, then another one would come in at a different angle and intercept it. So I call them interceptors, just so I could name them. This fella, ultrasound. I heard the UFOs, and they make the similar sound as the bull roar. The bull roar, it's a pulsing in the inner ear, on the eardrum. It's a pulse, like it's a flutter, and it's similar to the boomerang. And then, I was going to play that, but I'll get my room if I can find it. Disappearing black dogs and cats, at work, at home. There's a cat there, at work, a mate said, "Oh, cat just went behind that box here, come and we'll get it," like didn't take our eyes off it, nothing there, All sorts of strange stuff happens. An owl sitting on the clothesline at the back and just looking at them. Play video. Oh, I had a... How do you do that? You get a mouse with it? Oh. I had a... No idea what I get. Anyway. I had this object in my bedroom which was going like that, just beyond arm's length away inside. 2 weeks later, I got a daytime UFO event happening, and this object, first of all, was just turning around like that, dark, and then the bright side to it. And it went behind a tree, and when it went out the tree, it's doing this wobble effect, exactly like the object in my bedroom. Like just like that. Not a bird flapping its wings, it's going like that. Not that big, but it was the same thing as the dream. As the object in my bedroom. And, there's lots of strange things happen, but I've run out of time. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, thanks very much for listening.